Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Hyams here, flying solo on this interview today. And I think really quickly, you're going to figure out why Bob and Ben decided not to join me. Yeah, you know it from the conversations we've had. This one's going to be a little health focused. Now, I'm not going to only talk health with my guest today. I am going to be talking about growing a business. I'm going to be talking about leading remotely. I'm going to be talking about how to counterbalance creating an incredible business and a family life. We're going to talk about all of it. But you see, Ben and Bob heard nutrition, and they both ran screaming to go get a pizza or cheeseburger. I'm not sure what they're eating right now. But I want to bring on to you our guest, Heather Wilkinson, the owner of BTS Nutrition. So Heather, welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Now, Heather, on our podcast, I like to put my speakers on the spot a little bit and let you introduce yourself to our audience so you can share what it is you want and make sure that they have an idea of who they're going to be hearing from today.
All right. Well, it's pretty simple. My name is Heather, and I am a military wife turned small business owner. My background is actually I taught high school history for 10 years, and I coached all types of high school sports, and married my husband, who is active duty Army, and we've lived all over the world. And we have 2 boys, and I'm expecting a third currently. And I'm sure we'll get into how I became a small business owner, but I definitely did not start off on that path. I started out as a high school teacher. And from there, after having kids, things changed.
Interesting. Okay, so first, let me say on behalf of the Win, Make, Give family, thank you for your service, because we know even though your husband might be active military, we know that the spouse serves just as much with the traveling and the dealing with all the things that you have to go through. So we appreciate you and the service you've given the country. And good luck on the third.
Thanks.
Okay, so you've been all over the place, a successful mom. You were a teacher for years. Let me ask, were you always healthy?
For the most part, yes. When I was 7, I got diagnosed with a Hashimoto's. It's an autoimmune thyroid disorder, and it's really rare to get it treated that young. But my mom thought as a second grader I was just going to be an overweight bookworm. And once that got diagnosed, the doctor told her, hey, one thing that will help her is you need to keep her active. So my mom put me in a sport every season. So the fall was softball, winter was basketball, and then eventually spring became track and summer was swimming. So, but I will say the food part, no. I had no idea about nutrition until probably after my second son was born. I just ate pretty much like most people, whatever I wanted. And I assumed if I was working out, that it would all balance. And I did go through like a crazy period we can get into later where I discovered my Fitness Pal back in like 2011, and I tracked everything I ate while my husband was deployed. And I got to the point that like if I went over in calories, I'd be like, oh, I've got to run to a stop sign and back and burn some more calories trying to lose weight for him. Not for, he didn't ask me to, but I wanted to surprise him when he got back. And that's probably the skinniest I was, but I would not say it's the healthiest I was.
So skinny doesn't equal healthy?
Not at all.
No. Talk about that for a second right there, because I think it's a misconception that most people have that skinny means healthy. And you're saying skinny doesn't necessarily mean healthy. So let's talk to our audience. We've got people out there who want to win, and we're going to focus today on winning with nutrition. Of course, all the other things you're going to bring to that, but let's just tackle that one right off the bat. Skinny doesn't equal healthy?
No, I think the first time I saw that is I was watching one of the early, which I don't watch the show anymore, the earlier seasons of Dancing with the Stars. And there was a Victoria's Secrets model on there, beautiful, tiny, like rail thin. And she could not get through a practice because she was so out of shape and had no muscle endurance. And I remember her dancer dude was like, we can't even get through a dance until you get, so he like started training her. And I remember thinking, she's so skinny and pretty. Like, what does he mean she's not in shape? That's probably the first time I saw it. And then in my own life, like I said, I got down to, I'm 5'10", almost 5'11", so I'm tall. And I got down in the 150s when I did the whole MyFitnessPal run to the stop sign and back, crazy about my food. And I was like a size 6, maybe almost a 4. And then when I started eating right after having kids, working out, lifting weights, eating way more than I was before, I ended up weighing like 172, so almost 20 pounds more, but I was the same size, still a size 6, clothes still fit. And I felt better. I could perform better. I mean, I'm not like a performance athlete, but just in my CrossFit workouts, I could do so much more, lift so much more weight. And I looked different. I had people say, like, you don't look anything like you used to. You have like muscles now. And they're kind of going away now that I'm pregnant again. But I think that's when it really hit for me. And it's it's probably the number one thing, maybe number two, besides carbs aren't bad for you, that we struggle with women at my company with nutrition is they all want to come in and they want to cut weight, and they want to cut weight to get a lower body fat. And they don't realize that when you drop weight, that doesn't mean you're dropping fat. And if you cut your calories too low, a lot of women drop lean mass, which slows down their metabolism and actually raises their body fat. We had a client who came from another nutrition company that I won't name that lost 15 pounds, and she did an in-body scan, and 11 of the 15 pounds was muscle. So her body fat went up 4%. And so on the scale, hey, she lost 15 pounds. She's skinny. But you look a little deeper beyond the surface, she lost a lot of lean mass that she's still a year and a half later working to gain back. And her body fat actually rose versus went down. So I think that's really hard for women, especially to understand, because
And
we just want to be skinny.
right. And that's that conversation of muscle weighs more than fat. So just because we're
Right.
dropping things on the scale doesn't mean we're dropping the right things for our
Right.
body. And that's men or women in that situation. And folks, if you don't know how to identify a CrossFit athlete,
We got to
they'll
tell you.
tell you they're a CrossFit athlete. So
100%.
you heard Heather throw that in
Yeah.
there already.
Got
And
to
of
throw it
course,
out.
my immediate
And
response would have been something along the lines of, well, yeah, of course, I CrossFit too,
yeah.
because,
Yeah.
you don't go to Harvard and not let everyone know, and you don't CrossFit and not let everyone know. So,
The other joke that I don't pertain to right now, but it's definitely true at my gym, is as soon as the warm up starts, everyone's shirts come off. But, and you're like, well, we must be CrossFitters. But for
yeah.
everyone with my pregnant belly right now, I keep mine on.
All right. Now, one of the things, and we're going to talk very shallow on the nutrition, right? We're going to hit on it and how powerful it is and how it can change all your energy. I would ask everybody here, if you're sitting there going, I want to know more about nutrition, Chad, start talking to her more about nutrition. No, I'm going to tell you, Todd, which is one of Heather's dietitian coaches at BTS Nutrition, Todd and I did our own interview, and it's on the 15-Point Plan podcast. Jump over to the 15-Point Plan podcast. You can find it on the Win, Make, Give network. You can find it on our website, winmakegive.com. You can find it by just searching 15-Point Plan wherever you get your podcasts, and find the interview that I did with Todd. We really get down to micronutrients and all the stuff that you need to know about. That's not what we're here for. We don't want to scare everybody away. We know Ben and Bob are having their cheeseburger. We don't want to scare everybody away. Yet you mentioned in there, carbs are not bad. You must be crazy, Heather. I mean, carbs are the enemy, right?
Yeah, I'm glad to see some of science, not science, but the fad is starting to switch back to carbs aren't evil. But it's definitely true. I mean, Todd and some of my other dietitians have a saying that fat burns in the flame of a carbohydrate. And if you're not eating enough carbs, then you're not going to build muscle. And that's what burns fat, is building lean mass and having your metabolism run efficiently. And so what happens is when we don't eat enough carbs, but we go do any type of workout, you can run, CrossFit, lift weights, whatever it is, and we burn through our energy, our glycogen, and so we or glucose, and so then our body's like, well, I need it, and they're not feeding me carbs, they're not giving it to me, so I'm going to get it the only place I can, which is it's stored in our lean mass. So it breaks down our muscle, takes the glycogen, which is stored glucose, out, and we start losing muscle and weight. So that's where a lot of people get confused, is they're like, oh, I've lost weight, but I can't last as long in a workout. I can't lift as much. I'm not sleeping as well. I'm hungry all the time. And a lot of times it's a carb deficit that doesn't need to be there. But people also freak out because then you have to be careful when you reintroduce carbs. Someone who's cut it for a long time, if you just say, okay, I want you eating this many carbs, they do bloat because your body needs water to digest carbs. If you haven't been eating carbs for a while, then your body is going to hold on to the water for only like a week or so. But that's enough to scare most clients. They'll get like a pound or two of bloat and be like, oh no, this is it, the carbs, they've made me fat, I'm done. And so we have to really be careful. We have to inch people up in carbs.
Okay, got it. Now, I will tell you because Todd was my nutrition coach for a while. And folks, one of the things, and he shares it on that interview that I talk with him about, is he reminds us Heather and I are just calling them carbs, and you call them carbs. The actual term is carbohydrate. And the
Yes.
second half of carbohydrate would be hydrate,
Yes.
right? So you're taking in that hydration when you're taking in the proper types of carbs. And
Right.
what you're doing is, as Heather's saying, your body is then retaining that water, that hydration in you until your body starts to flush through all of that. So
Right.
don't panic and don't rely on a scale. My tip
Yes.
to you is, if you can find, it was the in-body scan that I think you guys use, right? If you
Right.
can find an in-body scan near you, it is painless, takes moments, and you will get an incredible reading on your body, left side versus right side, arms versus leg. You'll find out so much more about yourself than you thought possible without being poked and prodded. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, Heather, nutrition's your thing. You've built a business. Now, I met you and your business in Atlanta.
Right.
I had the opportunity. I was working out at our CrossFit style gym, Hard Exercise Works, and you guys came in and did a presentation to us and told us that we could drink wine and we could eat gummy bears and all of
Yeah.
those things. And so we signed up to find out how to live right. And folks, I talked with Todd about that. Yet you're currently not living in Atlanta due to
Correct.
your husband's military career. Where are you based?
We're in San Antonio, Texas right now, and next summer we'll move somewhere else.
Okay, so
Unknown.
beautiful place. San Antonio is a
Yeah.
wonderful place. We got lots of friends in the San Antonio area. Love the little river walk that's down there. Great area. How are you running a business remotely? Some of our people are challenged with that. It might not even be as far as you due to the current COVID situation. Remotely might just mean everyone's working from home. We're within a mile of each other, but we're not together. How do you find success working remotely?
I think the biggest thing was when I went into starting this business, I knew it would have to work remotely because I was going to be, I mean, as a military, we move every 3 years. That's the gig. So I knew I would not be in one place for long. So I actually started my business in Kansas and then we moved to Atlanta while my husband was gone for 18 months. And now we're here in Texas. So what I learned is I had to have a good team. And so I started with just two people with me in Kansas. And when I moved to Atlanta and people at that CrossFit gym started to hear about what we did and started to believe in what we did, I ended up meeting through that Todd and Lauren and several of my other dietitians who work at Emory and are actual clinical dietitians who do this on the side. Some have had such success that they've been able to drop their hours at Emory and whatnot to just do this. Um, and so when I left Atlanta, I knew that I was leaving a team of 4 or 5 people there who could network with the gyms and continue to run point for me. And I've now done that here in Texas. I've worked out at a few gyms. The gym I'm currently a member of, they've picked up BTS, and there's a couple of their coaches who are looking to get their nutrition certification. So hopefully, when I leave here in a year, I will be leaving behind a couple of coaches that I can stay in contact with. And so for me, it's been really important to have people that I can trust. And honestly, the way I set my business up to begin with, it was always meant to be run remotely. Even if you happen to be in the same city with your dietitian, especially now with all the COVID stuff, if you didn't want to meet them face to face, we've always had it built in that you could do a FaceTime for your consultation or whatnot. So one, I set it up that way, and then two, having a good team of people, which I've made mistakes with the people. um, but I found them out pretty quickly. And the ones that are still with me, we've grown from 3 to have about 15 coaches and dietitians now. And we're always looking for more because that's how we continue to expand.
Okay, so I heard in there are mistakes. Now, we're not going
Yeah.
to ask you to name names. Don't name names, right? Don't throw Todd under the bus here or anything like that.
Okay.
But we love mistakes, failures, challenges, and opportunities here at Win Make Give. Give me a mistake and then the lesson that was learned from it, because we know they're not failures as long as you learn from it. So, what was a mistake that other business owners might step in that you can say, hey, I know, even though I might be in a different business than you, this was a mistake. I learned from it, and here's what I learned.
Probably two stand out. One is just in today's age, and a lot of my coaches are, I'm almost 40. Well, I just turned 39, but I like to round up. But a lot of my coaches are younger. Some in their mid 30s, some in their late 20s. You just have to be aware of social media. And so I'm not maybe on social media as much as some of my younger coaches, but I have learned that part of the vetting process now is to look at their social media accounts. And I did not do that for someone I hired. And then later, a month in, I'm like seeing all these posts and stuff that just didn't represent who BTS was and the business. And so we decided to part ways. Not that once you come on to BTS, you have to just change your social media, but this was kind of an outstanding situation. And then the second one would be because I don't always get to interview people in person. And so that's also a way if you're doing things remotely and you've, talked to someone on the phone and and their resume, another third step I would take would be to investigate if they have a social media, kind of get to know them and what they post through that. And then the second one would be I run into the problem sometimes of my stuff. There's no way to copyright nutrition stuff, So we have a lot of videos, we have a lot of PDFs, and when we go into gyms and we introduce the challenges to them and we talk to the owners about how they're run, there's nothing really to protect me and my coaches from a coach deciding to just leave and set up their own thing with the gym and go with their own way. And so we had not a coach that did that, but a gym that decided to cut us out and take the coach we had hired from their gym and just try to do it on their own. Um, I have no idea if it ended up being successful for them or not. It certainly ended up not hurting us in the long run, but that was probably the first time that I realized not everybody is completely honest and open. And I got a lot of good advice that, you just, as long as you keep doing the right thing and you stay in your lane, you're just going to continue to learn how to be a better judge of character. And sometimes these things just happen and you got to just keep moving forward. And so we've continued to grow and flourish. And if someone is out there using our stuff, then at least it's good stuff written by my dietitians and people are getting good information.
Well, there
But
you go. And that right. It's we're getting the information out, and yes, someone. It's not like somebody can copyright a carb.
right, exactly.
So, when we start talking about, I mean, and heck, I could open the MyFitnessPal, which your organization had me using as well, and
Yes.
it's going to tell me right there, right? We recommend this much carbs. Okay,
Yep.
might not be exactly accurate, and that's why we go to a dietitian because it's generic, yet can't copyright it, right?
Yeah,
It's all
exactly.
right there. So, lesson I hear in that, folks: be honest, stay in your lane, and understand that sometimes someone's going to cut you off. Sometimes
Right.
someone's going to come real close and tailgate. Sometimes someone's going to just honk and scare the living crap out of you while you're driving. But if you can stay in your lane, you should be okay with all of that. And yes, in today's day and age, check their social media.
Yeah.
You'll find out a lot about people. And here's a tip for you: if you are looking for a job opportunity, clean up your
Yeah.
social media
That would
because
be
people
good.
will be looking at it. Okay, so you've got a husband that serves. He's there and he's not there, right? Sometimes he'll be deployed, sometimes you wish he'd go away and get out of your way, right? You've got two kids that keep your hands full. You've got a business you're running at a distance and at the same time attempting to build locally so you can leave a footprint there as you move on to your next location. How do you do it all? I mean, we've got audience members who are sitting here running a business. They've got kids, they've got spouses who are busy, they've got all this stuff going on, and they just say, I can't do it all. How, Heather, are you able to counterbalance and have that opportunity to have the strongest marriage, the best parenting relationship, grow a successful business, and still find some time even to yourself when needed?
It's definitely a learning process. I'm not perfect at it for sure, but I've gotten better. The probably the biggest challenge is how much I'm on my computer or phone. My boys are homeschooled now, and so they're home all the time. They're 5.5 and 7, so like right now they're entertaining themselves, and they're great about that. They're really self sufficient, but it's sometimes, it can be a wake up call when your son draws a picture and you have a phone in your hand, and you're like, oh, I don't want that to be how they see mommy. So probably the biggest challenge is when you teach or have a job that you go to, you have most professions have hours. I would teach from 7 to 3:30, then I would coach, and then I would come home and I sometimes I had papers to grade, but usually I got all that done at school. So I had hours. When you have your own business, I think the pitfall for a lot of us is you don't have hours. And so I have clients that message me at 10 or 11 at night, and I'm the kind of person that I feel like I need to answer. Like I should answer right now. And my husband has been really helpful. He has his master's in business, which I have like no business like education, the history teacher.
Yet you run the
So,
business and okay,
right.
got it.
He always jokes when he gets out that that's what his retirement plan is. And I'm like, probably not. But he he gave me the suggestion, set at home office hours. So 9 to 5. And then if you get text after 5 and we're not doing anything, you could send a quick response, but just set it out there to your clients that, hey, when I get your message, I'll respond within 24 hours for sure. Usually it's within 12. Um, and I found that a lot of my dietitians and coaches were also struggling with that, like with getting emails and texts at all hours of the night. And it's not that clients are being rude. That's just when they get home and think, oh, I've got a question. Let me fire it off to my coach.
Sure.
It was us, which I think means I hired good people that were feeling the pressure to answer everyone right away. So setting those business hours that I'm not always good about, sometimes I don't follow them, has been real big for me. And then even structuring my day at home. So we homeschool from 8 to 9:30 or 10, and then we take a break while I go to the gym and the boys play outside while I'm at the gym. Then we come home and eat lunch and we do our second half of the homeschool day. And then usually by 1 or 2 we're done, and that's when I'll do work. I'll answer emails and do that until it's time for swim team or soccer practice or whatever it is my boys are doing. And then once we come home from dinner, I try to put the phone away and I'm trying not to be on it the rest of the night because that's when my husband gets home. Usually, if he's not deployed, and we get to talk and see how each other's days went. So it's not good if I'm always on the phone while he's trying to tell me about his day. So that's probably my biggest advice is try to schedule your days in blocks and then try to stick to those blocks. But I mean, it can definitely be a challenge. Right now, we're running one of our BTS 6 week challenges. So you know, some of us have 20 to 30 clients for the next 6 weeks that we're checking in with and running the Facebook page. And so my husband is very sweet and understanding that sometimes there's 3 times a year where I'm a little bit more on social media than usual. But I think setting those boundaries is a big thing. You
Okay.
have to do it for yourself.
So set the boundaries is what I'm hearing in there. Set hours for yourself
Yes.
and then make your hours obvious to your clients, no matter what industry you're in. So they
Right.
don't think you're ignoring them. They understand, hey, and your choice on hours, 5 o'clock,
Right.
6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever they are, just have hours and let your clients know. I mean, every store we go to has hours.
Exactly.
Store closes, unless it's Walmart, I guess,
Yeah.
or Denny's, right? They're
Yeah.
always open. Okay, so you're running a successful business, you're running a successful family, it sounds like. You're having a healthy life and all of that that's going on. Yet you chose an industry that has ebbs and flows, right? I mean, the stock market goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. So, traders, they're always dealing with a current market. Real estate, it goes up, it comes down, always dealing with a current market. Here you are in health. Health goes through fads like crazy, right? No carbs, all the
Yes.
protein, go keto, go this, go. How do you survive and thrive through all the changes that continuously happen in the health industry?
Well, I think the first thing was when we first started BTS, I was super nervous. I've never been a business person. Like I said, I go to school and teach, and that's my paycheck. So the idea that I would be in charge of paying people and running a website was very intimidating to me. But my husband and my business partner at the time gave me the advice to make my expenses something that I could easily cover if I made no money. And so in the beginning, it was very minimum. We had a website that I paid for the year, and then we didn't even have the cool app we have now. We used spreadsheets that clients had to fill out. Those poor guys who were with us in the beginning. Um, and I knew, so it took the pressure off. I knew if I didn't have any clients that month, I would still meet my expenses. And then as we started to grow and I started to be able to put money aside and we got into the app, it really became about no matter what's going on in the fitness world and the nutrition world, BTS's message is the same. And as I brought in new coaches, that's one of the big things I interview is what are your thoughts about this core principles of nutrition? And those they don't change no matter what is happening, on the Instagram news feeds and the Facebook stories and whatever Hollywood diet is happening. And we aren't opposed. Like if we have people come to us, especially CrossFitters who are like, I only eat paleo, that's fine. You can eat paleo, but how about we don't eat 80% fat paleo and let's get you some carbs in there in a way that works with your body. We have some people on keto. We don't usually encourage those types of eating plans or fads because like you said, they come and go. And so the biggest problem is if you go paleo or you go keto or whatever zone diet, and then you stop and you try to just go back to eating however, you gain weight back. And I think a good nutrition company, a good nutrition plan is one that stays steady. And what if you decide to go off of it or you decide you don't need a coach anymore, which is maybe a terrible business model. But if you decide we've educated you enough and you don't need us anymore, that you can do it and be successful on your own. You don't have to have someone holding your hand the whole time. And if you take a break because you're on vacation or something and you come back, you haven't gained 10 pounds by reintroducing an entire food system back into your diet. So I think just staying steady and acknowledging those fads, but then trying to talk to clients about why we may not recommend them. But if a client pushes hard enough, then we'll say, okay, we'll let you try this. And usually they figure out on their own. They don't feel as good or whatnot on their own. And then also just knowing that my business model is set up very differently than most people's. I am blessed. My husband works obviously with the military, so I our expenses are covered by his paycheck, and so I'm not as stressed about where if my business doesn't do well one month, then oh no, we're not getting food for the table. So
Right.
I have that luxury that a lot of small business owners don't have, and as a result, I've been able to like when COVID hit, it was definitely a big our challenge that normally has 120 people all across the nation or whatnot had like 40. And so we definitely took a hit, but then the next challenge that happened right after like the fall of COVID when everybody had been locked up all summer, it was huge because everybody had been eating and eating and eating at their home and they all wanted. So also just learning like not to panic that, normally our New Year's challenge is huge. This year I was surprised it wasn't that big. And now one we're doing now, it's huge. It's double what we did in January, which hardly ever happens. But just staying calm, staying steady, knowing that every business has those ebbs and flows, and just also being smart, not spending everything you get, putting it into savings for those rainy COVID pandemic days. Um, but
Which
really,
luckily
it's
there aren't
been
too many more of.
right. Praise God. But really, it's been just keeping overhead costs as low as we can. So
Okay.
being online that's very easy to do, and then just staying steady and acknowledging the fads, but not panicking or changing our mottos. Our one of the rules I have is none of my coaches can sell supplements. So while I have no problem with some of the supplements out there, none of my coaches can sign up with a third marketing party and sell whatever, Avocare or whatever, nothing wrong with that. But BTS is not about supplementation. And so that's a rule I have. And that's an example of how we just stay the course, regardless of what's going on around us. And it's worked really well. We've grown smally, like slowly and small over time, but over 3 or 4 years, we've seen a lot of growth and a lot of spreading from just one state to all over the US. And our challenges were 20 people, and now they're close to 200 sometimes. So it seems to be working for us. And we did have a chance to go really big. We had an investor 2 years ago, but the more we talked and the more his vision and my vision just didn't line up. I wanted to be a stay at home mom with my kids, didn't want to be traveling every weekend to keep promoting. I didn't want to outsource my dietitians to another country to save money and just different things like that. So also knowing that I'm playing the long game. So if I have to grow more organically and slowly, I'm willing to do that to not sacrifice my product and the quality of my coaches.
Wow. Lots of lessons in that little answer right there for you folks, right? Go back, hit the rewind button there, listen to Heather talk again, whether it was keeping your expenses really low so that you don't have to worry on those slower month opportunities when possible. And leading with, I make more money, okay, I can now spend more money, but not letting those expenses get crazy on you. I heard in there almost basically ignore the trends, right? You're a stockbroker. Don't worry about the market going up and going down, going up and going down. You know what it's going to end up doing in the long run. Real estate, same thing. Any of those sales industries, you know you're going to have seasons that are popular and seasons that are not as popular. Pay attention to your business, put those blinders on, stay focused on you and growing organically as much as possible instead of necessarily going for the easy button and grabbing that solution that might be laying in front of you because, well, if it's not true to you, it's not going to end up working.
Right.
Okay. So, Heather, you've shared a ton with us. How do people and folks, I'm not done. I'm going to ask Heather a question just for me at the end. You don't want to miss the opportunity. But Heather, before we get there, how can people connect with you, learn more? You're not on social media all that much, you tell us, but how can they learn more about you or BTS or all of the opportunities that you guys are providing?
I am on social media, and well, BTS is on Instagram, Facebook, and then we have a website. It's really easy, btsnutrition.com. And then I'm on Facebook myself and Instagram, and I usually accept friend requests from most people. I don't know. Depends on what your profile picture looks like. Um, but if you follow me personally, you'll just see a lot of pictures of my kids. I used to post lifting videos, but I don't anymore because I'm not supposed to be lifting that heavy, or at least not to where someone would be, oh, well, that's impressive. But really, just following us on social media, we try to do a post a day, some nutrition fact or something that just helps you on your nutrition journey. And then that's also a way to see when our challenges are coming, to hear client reviews, to see before and after pictures, all that kind of stuff. And then if you decide to sign up with us, we have a members only page that's got like 300 or 400. I don't even know now how many people on it. We post weekly in that recipes and tips and tricks and accountability for workouts and all that jazz. So there's a lot of different ways. If you're not ready to try a nutrition coach, then you can just follow us on social media. And then if you're ready, then you can go to our website. All of our coaches are on there, all of our bios, before and after pictures, client reviews, and then all of our services are listed as well. And if you're somewhere where we have an affiliate gym, then we have a page where you can go and see all the gyms we're partnered with, and they're all great places if you need a place to work out. Not all of them are CrossFit gyms. A
Okay.
lot of
Got
them
to
are,
make
but
that
not all
clear,
of
right?
them.
They're not all CrossFit gyms.
Right.
Okay. So folks, check out btsnutrition.com. You can find their website there, find them online on all the different social platforms that are there. You can also join us, of course, as you know, facebook.com/groups/win-make-give so that you can become a part of our group where we talk about these episodes. We talk about other things that are going on through the Win Make Give network that we want to keep you informed with. Uh, Heather, this year during season 2 of Win Make Give, we are really, really, really taking the give part of Win Make Give very, very seriously. And in honor of you joining us today, we're going to be giving money to a charity. We're going to make a donation in your honor for every listen we get in the first 30 days. So, what charity is it that we're going to make a donation to in your honor?
Was thinking about it and I was going to go nutrition based, but everything that we really do, I ended up going with the Ronald McDonald House, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's a house. It's not a literal house, they're everywhere, but it's a place that military families can go when their spouse has been hurt in a deployment. And while they're recovering, the military helps take care of them. And my husband and I give to that personally. Um, but I just thought this is an opportunity to go beyond nutrition. And I asked my dietitians, and there weren't a ton of nutrition based charities out there. So that's the one we narrowed it down with. It's a way to help a lot of people who really need it in their time of something we hope as a military spouse we never have to go through.
Well, we know that they are a wonderful organization doing wonderful things, because why else would a nutrition focused person make a McDonald's recommendation on
That's
a
true,
podcast,
right?
right? So we
Didn't
know
even think
there's
about that.
we know there's power behind that, because she doesn't necessarily want you to eat the food, but
Right.
boy, we want to support the charity that they have as much as possible, and we are going to make a donation. So folks, if that's something that would be beneficial to you, if this episode, hearing from Heather about how she has juggled so many things to have success, stay healthy, take care of a family, be a powerful wife, and deal with all the things she's dealing with, if you found value in that, share this episode for us. Share it on Facebook, share it on any social media. Heck, just email it to friends and say, check this out. Because for every episode listen we get in the first 30 days, we will be making a donation to the Ronald McDonald House. We appreciate you joining us here. Now, folks, don't forget to jump over to the 15-point plan and check out the interview I did with Todd, one of Heather's dietitians, where he really gets into the specifics of carbs, proteins, fats, hydration. We talk about all of it. And boy, we probably geek out a little bit, because boy, I've become passionate about this topic ever since I met you and Todd, and he really helped us change the way we ate. So folks, check out that episode for us, 15-point plan. Check that podcast out. Now, Heather, I want to just ask you, what's the one food that I'm still eating that I've got to stop? Or what's the superfood that I'm not eating enough of? They talk about kale. They talk about it being it's disgusting.
Yeah, my
Okay.
husband hates kale.
What's the superfood I need to be paying more attention to, in your opinion? And what's that food that I might think I'm doing okay with that I should probably be removing from my diet?
Generally, the removal one for most people is alcohol. And it's not that we say you should not drink, but like I had someone at the gym today ask me, okay, during this challenge, how many beers a day can I drink and still lose weight? That kind of drinking we want to do in moderation. And so I always tell people, if you're just looking to maintain your weight, a couple glasses of wine a week, not a night, is okay. Um, or a lot of my clients like to pick one weeknight where they have a drink, and then Friday and Saturday they might have a drink, but they don't drink every day. Um, so again, I myself, when I'm not pregnant, drink, but doing that amount, people don't realize, because they don't log it correctly, how many calories that adds up to, and that your body stops digesting carbs and fats while you're drinking, because it's got to process the alcohol. It has to get it out. So that's probably the avoid one. Um, and then I would that and fast food, which I eat fast food at least once or twice a week. But I know. But just making smarter choices, like Whataburger is really big here in Texas. I'd never heard of it till I came here, but
Mhm.
it's everywhere. So when I go to Whataburger, I get a grilled chicken sandwich with the mayonnaise sauce on the side, and I still get the small fries. And it's amazing how much fat that cuts out, not doing the sauces and getting the small fry instead of like the medium fry. But you can still have fast food. Chick-fil-A is a great one because they've got a lot of grilled options and fruit cups and stuff.
Okay.
And then the one thing we all need more of, to include myself, is probably vegetables. People don't like vegetables. My husband hates kale. But one thing that I found that really works is if you can blend it in a smoothie or something, you can get a whole serving or two and you won't taste it. You won't taste it if you have enough fruit. Um, but yes, vegetables is a hard one. It just is. I mean, there's rare people out there who like, oh, I love vegetables, give them to me. But I mean, I myself only like zucchini and broccoli and spinach. That's pretty much it. I do not like most vegetables. Brussels sprouts, gross. They are gross.
Well, I know that
Um,
tonight I'm having chicken wings for dinner, yet I'm having carrots on the side because
yeah, or celery sticks
that's what
instead of,
Todd
there you go.
has put on my diet that says you can have those wings that are not deep fried, they're baked,
There you
but
go.
you're having carrots on the side to get the carbs and the
Yeah.
veggies that go with
Todd is
that as
really
well.
good about getting his pretty plate, his rainbow plate. It's always
Yes,
impressive.
it is. All right, so Heather, thank you so much for joining us, folks. We hope you hung out and heard the secrets at the end. And if you did, we'll look forward to speaking to you on our next episode. And until then, as always, do good.